Hello, dear friends and colleagues. This is Anna here from Hungary. These days, some decades ago, I arrived to join you here on Earth, so I wanted to wish a very happy birthday for babies coming now and also their families, as it really matters how we are born. And I think it's on us to support those places where mothers and babies are handled with respectful, evidence-based, most of all, loving care. And for me, Bumi Sehat organization is such a place, and I was privileged to visit the birth center in Bali. Now I was talking to midwife Robin Lim and her husband William Hemmerle, who are part of this Bumi Sehat community. And Robin told me that she has assisted approximately 20,000 births over her 28 years of midwifery practice. 20,000 births, amazing. So, yeah, for me, Bumi Sehat is it's like a clear source, which is flowing into a very good direction, and give us an example that it's totally possible to do high standard knowledge and evidence-based birth care with loving kindness. So thank you for listening and using the donation link below that is direct link your support to them to maintain their beautiful work, what they're doing. Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, we're talking about your birth center, and I heard that you're still there and you're doing your beautiful job. And yeah, we need sometimes more help to operate, and that's why we're talking. I'm Anna Tutsek from Hungary, and I'm a birth doula and a perinatal consultant. And this is Robin Lim and William.
My husband Will.
Yes.
Is our,
Can you recall one of
the
the most beautiful births from last year?
I sure can. I think what comes to mind right away is just in December, we had 2 nights in a row where there were babies born simultaneously. So the midwives woke me up and I ran down there because we needed extra hands and hearts. And yeah, we had 2 babies born in separate rooms with separate teams simultaneously. But that was 2 nights in a row. And then the next night, they called me about 2 in the morning, and the midwife said, "Can you really run?" And I live very close to the clinic. I said, "Sure, I'm coming. What do you need?" And they said, "Well, a mother arrived fully dilated with a breech baby."
Oh.
She had never had any prenatal care. A lot is going on with the COVID, so mothers are afraid to get prenatal care. Those that know Bumi Sehat come and they know that it's really hygienic, it's really clean. We've been really blessed during this pandemic. Bali has very low numbers compared to other places. There have been deaths here, but nothing like Europe or Italy or U.S. right now. Nothing like that. And then by law, everyone in labor has to be tested in Indonesia. So this was a very difficult thing because mothers don't want to be tested, and they also have a human right to decline, but they don't really. So we test on site, and there's always all of our midwives have doula skills because doula skills are super important. We do let the mothers bring their doula if they have a doula, but we're holding their hands during the testing because in that 15 minutes, a mother's blood pressure can go up really high. So anyway, our breech mother arrived. She was actually in the room where we do the testing, and they found that she was fully, they went to test her, and it was obvious that she was ready to push. And then they realized her baby was breech. So I arrived, and she was very panicked because she had no prenatal care. She didn't know her baby was breech, second baby. And we just calmed her down and asked her to change her position to hands and knees, not to lay down on her back. And as soon as she went to her hands and knees position, her whole body knew that it was correct, that it was for her the best way to give birth to this baby. So she stopped screaming and she was, on the bed, but hands and knees. And she gave birth so easily. And the baby was literally smiling immediately. It was really beautiful. So that was a beautiful thing. I mean, had she had prenatal care, I'm sure that she would be in a hospital getting a cesarean. I'm not that I don't like cesarean. I think it's a really life-saving, beautiful belly birth when you need it. And I don't think mothers should feel bad when they have a belly birth, but it's a pity when it happens unnecessarily.
Yeah, and the normal breech presentation shouldn't be a pathological way to decide for a cesarean if it's just that, maybe. So we
Mhm.
need to relearn the skills of breech
Well,
deliveries.
that's just the thing. If the birth keepers, if the midwives and the OBGYNs are not being taught
Yeah,
how to gently and effectively and safely receive a breech baby into the world, then, you know,
yeah,
it becomes difficult. It
yes.
becomes difficult. So anyway, she did great. She did, and her baby was so cute. I don't know. What's your best birth story?
Mine,
Maybe Rimba. Can't just sit there looking good.
well, as Rome burned and Nero was making fiddling, when my daughter was when our daughter was giving birth, I was up here playing some music, and then I was told, "Oh, you have to come right away." But she wants something to eat, so I had to cook her some ferns, which is what she wanted, just a very idiosyncratic Indonesian dish, and then I went over and participated in that birth, and that was really wonderful to have all the family there and to participate in the birth and actually to physically be supporting my daughter was a real privilege and honor that I'm sure can be very rare for fathers to have. So that was fun. And Rimba, who you just saw here on her lap before,
Yeah.
she was, she's just, we spend a lot of time with her. She's always over. And
That's so
her
beautiful.
mother, in fact, said she need to go out for an hour and a half yesterday, and she ran off, and she was a few hours. And when she got back, she called to her daughter to come. She goes, "I just want to stay here." And so we get to spend a lot of time with her. So I think that investment at the birth was really from the initial support of through conception and the pregnancy, not conception but through pregnancy, and then in the birth, has really created this incredibly strong relationship, which is very, very wonderful.
We are working hard, all the birth workers, to change birth on earth and change birth care. And what I notice is that mainly it's women who raise their voices, and I sort of miss men's voices and fathers and grandfathers and partners' voices to be part of this. And I was thinking to ask you, what do you think as being a man's role in this work?
Ah, I think that's I think we're talking about cultural conscious evolution in terms of participating in birth, and I think it's going to be very different for different cultures, for where people are at. But I think absolutely men need to realize that they are are totally a part of what's happening, and that they need to be as supportive as they can be. One of our favorite people who has left the world, and she was a wonderful midwife. She had these little gems, and I remember her saying to us one time, she said, the most important tool in your birth bag should be a flexible straw, meaning that if that's all you had to use, that was a perfect birth. If you didn't have to do anything. But I think a man has to be absolutely supportive of his wife or his partner and the baby being born, and be able to interface in that role of support. So whatever the mother needs him to be doing, he needs to be in tune with that without her even asking sometimes, but also to be there and say, whatever you need, I am here for you.
Yeah, and considering making informed decisions, we need to be informed.
Right.
And I heard a story about a woman who chose to have a home birth, and the way she convinced her husband to be to take active role in the whole process was like saying, well, if you, my love, are spending half a year every day in front of the internet to search for your new car's parameters and to investigate your time in making an informed choice what car we should choose, why not to do that the same way when our child is born?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, it's, of course, it's wonderful that doulas have really made a big impact in the birth scene, but that does not abrogate the responsibility of the father to be there in total support. So it's wonderful that doulas can now negotiate some of that, sometimes the bureaucracy, but also what's happening between the midwifery team or the medical team and the mother, and allow the father to be in direct support. But he shouldn't step away from. It should be welcome. The doula is welcomed into the birth team along with the support of the father, hopefully.
Yeah, many times we are supporting the father as well, the whole family, and also the medical team, of course. So we are there for supporting whatever need is coming, and we are absolutely not a replace for the fathers, of course. Yes. So yeah, thank you. So, and Robin, what was your biggest challenge last year through these very uncertain times? What do you
Probably,
need now?
well, I think that fear was our biggest challenge because there are 6 Bumi Sehat clinics now,
Mhm.
2 in the Philippines and 4 in Indonesia. It seems like every time there's a major disaster and we go there, the communities try to keep us there because they need, when they find that, for example, when we go to Lombok and we start delivering babies in tents and they have a better experience in the tent than they had previously in hospital or at a government clinic, they really want to keep that. So when the communities really do things like in Palawan, the indigenous mothers gave us 2 hectares of land. When they really show a commitment, then we try to find the way to build the clinic. But then after you build these childbirth centers, you have to keep them open and operational. You have to pay the salaries of the midwives. You have to buy the food. You have to essential medicines, supplies. And right now, supplies with the personal protective equipment is much more expensive. Those have to be changed every time. For a while, they were unavailable here, and now they are available. So we had a team in our Papua clinic that was, we call it a clinic, but it's birth center, reproductive health center. Um, they couldn't get personal protective clothing, so they had to wear raincoats. And Papua is much hotter than Bali.
Okay.
It's one of the hottest places in the world. And they have also a high rate of COVID. So there was a lot of fear how to protect the mothers and the babies and the families and how to protect the teams. And with the entire world being involved in this huge storm and the economic strife, how would we survive on donations?
Mhm.
And um, surprisingly, people became, I think, part of what happened in this very heartbreaking, sorrowful time is that people became very generous. And people contacted me who maybe they gave $5 20 years ago. And they contacted me and said, we know that it's difficult. How can we help? So we ended up fine. We didn't close any of our 6 places, um, the birthplaces, and some of them actually have general medicine and community health, but none of them closed. Things like prenatal yoga went online.
Mhm.
Now it's beginning here in Bali. We can open it up again for small classes. But we were doing prenatal yoga twice a week for averaging 50 to 80 mothers or more.
Mm.
We had a big space. We have a big space in Bali. But now we can only take 10 to 15 mothers. It's a sign up, it's first come, first serve. And so while those mothers, we did have 24,000, no, 2,400 times mothers took the class online
Okay.
during the last, since I think in April, we published the prenatal yoga classes. My daughter-in-law, Lena, the mother of 2 of my grandsons, she's our coordinator for prenatal yoga, and she taped the classes and then put them online, and immediately we had a lot of response. It's different though for the mothers. It's lonely for them
Yeah.
to sit in front of a tablet or their hand phone. Indonesian moms,
Totally different.
generally the families have a hand phone, but they will set that up and they will try to do their yoga at home.
Mhm. And
So it's lonely, but it's available. But most of our programs are still fully operational. We're very blessed.
and you need so the donations would go directly for the operating of these 6 birth centers of Bumi
Yes,
Sehat.
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the purposes I was coming up with this idea is that my birthday is approaching, and my mom likes to tell me every year how she remembers her delivery with me. And it was an easy and straightforward birth, and yet I was separated from her for long hours. And this is very usual for my generation, and it has an impact on attachment. Just real, as you said, it's such a good investment to have an undisturbed birth and to have an undisturbed bonding time. Yeah, so it's about everyone's birthday, and we remember our birthdays unconsciously, and it's in our decision making strategies, and it's in our everyday, although we don't maybe remember it consciously. So you followed the International Childbirth Initiative, 12 steps of respectful mother-baby care in childbirth. And yeah, so one of the main steps is to have this undisturbed bonding time. Can you recall any stories about this? How maybe I remember you have or you had, I don't know about now, you had lots of expats from Russia.
We
And
do have lots of expats. And now less, of course, there's no tourists at all. So we have 80% or more unemployment here. Our patients who were already poor are much more poor. We spend a lot of our operating funds buying food for patients.
okay.
So we do a thing every couple of weeks where we make 200 food packets, which is rice, a little bit of cooking oil, sweet potatoes, because they're so good for the pregnant and breastfeeding mothers, vegetables. Of course, people are trying to grow vegetables at home now more than ever because they're unemployed. Eggs for protein, just your basic Indonesian foods. And we distribute those. Um, so that's always something that we need. Uh, but it's the mothers are incredible. No matter how much strife and poverty they have in their lives, every mother just loves her baby. We do not make the mothers wear masks in labor. I know that in some hospitals they are, in some countries, not all. But and we do allow the mother to have her partner there, and she can have her doula, or sometimes her doula is her mother, or someone who she feels safe with. And then, so although we are very much wearing the full hazmat suit, the face shield, the mask, the head covering, everything's covered. But we can smile with our eyes. We still sing to the babies when they're crowning. We sing Gayatri mantra, or depending on the faith of the family.
Yeah, so you're adjusting the song to the faith of the mother and the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we find that it's really something. It's a shift from having people yelling push in birth to having people singing. And again, the parents will say to us, wow, when my child is upset and the diaper isn't wet and the baby's well fed and the baby's burped and the baby just seems upset, we sing the birth song. If it's Gayatri mantra, or like for Christians, we sing Amazing Grace. It's the only Christian song we know. And so we have a lot of babies named Grace.
Okay.
We say Bismillahirrahmanirrahim for the Muslim families. There's a song in the Philippines for Catholics. Most of our patients there are Catholic. But when the mothers say that again and again, that when the baby's upset, they sing their birth song and they calm right down. So we know that babies are listening even before the birth. So, for example, one of the things our friend who's a father from Aotearoa, which most people know is New Zealand, he's Maori, and he has the full tattooed face, and he teaches Maori men. Sorry about the noise, it's Bali. It's a lot of noise. He teaches Maori men how to be very present and loving partners for their baby mothers, and he really gets them to look at every detail. Like, for example, when a man says to him, my wife is pregnant, he gets very upset because he said, when you say your wife is pregnant, you forget that you're also pregnant and the baby hears you. So when you say we are pregnant, the baby understands that you are committed. And really important to a baby, even before they're born.
That's beautiful. So
Mhm.
yeah, thank you for your time and stories, and I wish you all the best and energies for continuing your beautiful work and
Thank you.
to show example for other birth centers and hospitals and private practices that it's possible to follow the 12 steps of respectful mother baby care. And yeah, thank you.
The ICI is so beautiful. We're so happy about it.
Yes.
Hey.
This season, whether joy or tragedy, strangers, friends or family, seek comfort in loving harmony. That's the cure. Let your heart be free.